All right, let's look at the 5 top reasons a breaker might trip. And it's a good thing if a breaker trips because it's an overcurrent protection device. That breaker is tripping for a reason. We just need to figure out why. So the number one reason a breaker will trip is because you're drawing too many amps. So if you have a 15 amp breaker and your circuit is drawing more than 15 amps, that breaker is designed to cut off. So the number one reason for a situation like this might be a space heater. A space heater draws 13 amps. If you have it on your bedroom circuit, you have other things running, and that space heater is drawing 95% of your 15 amps, and then with the other things plugged in, it's going to trip. So in a situation like that, those devices might need a dedicated circuit, which is its own circuit. But let's get into another reason. If the hot wire touches the neutral wire anywhere in that circuit, it's instantly going to trip. That is what we call a short circuit. We'll get more into that. If you take my course, you'll learn about how electricity flows in electrical theory. Why is this tripping? Another reason is a ground fault. So if you have a ground fault, that's the opposite, hot touching the ground. Now we have an issue where it's grounding out. That's going to trip as well. Another reason, a faulty appliance. So the very first thing you need to do if you have a breaker that's constantly tripping is unplug everything from that circuit. And then if the breaker holds, your circuit's good. One of your appliances is bad. I'll give you an example. A sub pump that I did on a circuit that wasn't holding, the lady's breaker kept tripping. I unplugged her sub pump. The breaker held fine. So in that situation, that sub pump was bad. And then the fifth and final reason, it might just be worn out, the breaker itself. You might just have a bad breaker, or if your home's just old and old wiring, it needs to be updated. But the number one reason typically is always overloaded. You're drawing more amps than what your breaker can handle. So if we have a 20 amp circuit, we can't draw 25 amps. 15 amp circuit, we can draw no more than 15 amps.